Hurricane Dorian is still wreaking havoc along the East Coast as it works its way north, hitting the Carolinas. Accuweather meteorologist Geoff Cornish joins us live now. Geoff, what can you tell us about the strength of the storm right now?
It's still a very powerful storm. Hurricane Dorian obviously ravaged the northern Bahamas. We've been talking about this storm now for about 10 days or so, and it's been a true hurricane for 8 days now. But it's still a fierce storm right along the Carolina coast. As the storm moved through last night into early this morning, it actually re-strengthened just by about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Now it has still held on to some fairly strong winds, 110 mile per hour sustained winds. It has weakened about 5 miles per hour from that resurgence that we saw last night. So this is a strong Category 2 hurricane. An eye wall is impacting. The northwestern part of the eye wall is running right along the South Carolina coast, very close to Myrtle Beach. Here's the view on radar, and some of these rain bands are producing excessive rain, very heavy rain. We've already seen reports of 6, 7, and nearly 8 inches of rain at this point, and we're going to continue to see those rainfall numbers add up. Obviously, we expect some areas to see between 12 and 15 inches, but through the evening, we expect this to come awfully close to a true landfall, at least along the capes of the eastern part of North Carolina, so Cape Fear, Cape Lookout, Cape Hatteras, and then eventually this is going to impale itself into the Canadian Maritimes this weekend as a cold, angry North Atlantic low pressure system. But take a look at FUTURECAST. This western part of the eye wall will be a severe weather threat here. We're looking at isolated tornadoes embedded within this larger hurricane and very, very strong winds buffeting the eastern part of North Carolina. The heaviest rain mainly east of I-95, and then it's going to pull offshore. But it will still have some impacts even into Cape Cod at the end of the week. So as we look at the areas that are most prone to some significant damage tied to this storm, we have Cape Fear, Cape Lookout, and Cape Hatteras that jut out into the Atlantic. So there is a reduced frictional effect of water compared to land, as that wind is going to really be hammering those areas. But it's not just the capes. Many areas are seeing the risk of isolated tornadoes. And again, isolated tornadoes are often wrapped into the western and northern part of a hurricane near the coastline. And we have an enhanced risk of tornadoes. There are 2 tornado watch boxes currently in effect for the eastern part of the Carolinas, from Myrtle Beach all the way up into areas around Dare County in North Carolina. And you can see all of these tornado reports that have occurred from the past 18 hours or so. The storm surge is a big deal, as well as that strong onshore wind piles up and shoves some of the ocean water into the inlet areas. And in yellow, we're indicating areas that could see a 3 to 6 foot and are seeing a 3 to 6 foot increase in water levels. So we have major problems out there. Wind gusts in Myrtle Beach, 60 to 70 miles per hour, 8 to 10 inches of rain, storm surge of 2 to 4 feet. Into Wilmington, North Carolina, 8 to 10 inches of rain, similar numbers. Stronger winds as the coast heads east and just out into the ocean a bit more, like at Cape Hatteras. We expect the most severe impacts there, 80 to 100 mile per hour wind gusts likely tonight, with a 3 to 6 foot storm surge that's going to breach parts of the Outer Banks, putting North Carolina Route 12 underwater. And that's already beginning to happen farther south. Lots of flooding farther south into South Carolina. Even Virginia Beach could see 50 to 60 mile per hour gusts, just clipping far southeastern parts of the Commonwealth of Virginia, with a high risk to lives and property here for good reason. There have been evacuation orders along the coast. And the AccuWeather Real Impact Scale for hurricanes assesses all kinds of things, from the financial toll, but especially the risk to lives and property because of damaging wind, storm surge, and inland rain-related flooding. And this is a 2 on that scale. The northern Bahamas were a 5. Cape Cod and the islands, gusts of wind 40 to 50 miles per hour, 1 to 3 inches of rain. Just a quick shot there in southeastern New England, as that also sticks quite a ways out into the Atlantic. And the Canadian Maritimes will be hit hard with this as well, but by far the greatest economic impact occurring along the east coast of the U.S., as the southeast, and obviously into the northern Bahamas as well.
Incredible. Hurricane Dorian continues. AccuWeather meteorologist Geoff Cornish, thanks so much for the update.